Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And tonight's Smackdown was from the Jacksonville Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida. And I gotta say, tonight's Smackdown, I thought it was a good show, in my opinion. It wasn't great or perfect, but it was a good show. I enjoyed Smackdown. It was a lot better than Monday Night Raw last night, which Raw was fucking terrible last night. If you guys haven't checked out my review of Raw, definitely go check it out. It's the previous video. And before I start the Smackdown review, some other news that happened in the wrestling world today. They had the rally for AEW, which is All Elite Wrestling. It's this thing that was created. It's this promotion that's been created by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. And the rally was broadcast today online. It was through like Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, maybe. And I ended up watching a little bit of it. And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to All Elite Wrestling. They signed, some good stars for this promotion. They signed Britt Baker, who is a very talented women's wrestler, and she's also Adam Cole's girlfriend. And she's entertaining in the ring. I watched the match that she was in at All In, that Fatal 4-Way women's match, which was a very good match. And they signed her. They also signed Neville, who is known now as Pac. So they got him. And the one surprise that they ended up signing and giving a contract to, and WWE was trying to get him back because he's one of the great WWE superstars that came and went, and then came back again, and was there for a few years and then went. But AEW has signed Chris Jericho, and that was a surprise. I never would have thought they would get Jericho to sign, and to sign for AEW, since he's wrestled in New Japan, and then I think he was doing like a little bit of Impact of TNA, and then now he gets signed to AEW, which WWE was tempting to get back Jericho, but Jericho is now signed with AEW, and there was video of it earlier today of him signing the contract, and he was there at the rally to end it off. So I'm all in for All Elite Wrestling. This is gonna be pretty good. And they announced their first show, which is happening in May. It's gonna be on May 25th. It's gonna be called AEW Double or Nothing, and it's gonna be held in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Arena, I think it's called. So yeah, so I'm all in for that. And maybe I'll review if they get a TV deal, because I heard AEW was in negotiations with Time Warner, so maybe Time Warner could sign them, and then it could be on either TBS or TNT. But who knows? If they get a TV deal, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check out AEW, possibly maybe review it. So. Oh yeah, so that's the news today. Almost 5 minutes in, I haven't gotten to the SmackDown review though, but I just wanted to talk about that. And so now on to the SmackDown review. So SmackDown opened up tonight, and we were in the concession stands, the concessions area in the arena, and Daniel Bryan was there. And this kind of reminded me of what they did last night on Raw, where Raw opened with a brawl between Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. started backstage, and then it went to into the gorilla position area, and then it went out into the out there in the arena, and it kind of reminded me of last night, but you know, they did it different here, where we were just in the concessions area and Daniel Bryan was there. And Daniel Bryan was there because he was going on a tirade. He was angry. He was talking about how AJ Styles would be here if he was just a fan. And Daniel Bryan was like, he wanted to take us on a educational journey. So he goes on and brags about the only concessions we're making is, you know, he says, you know, is to our health and well-being. He goes on to say, you know, are we healthy? And how do we feel after we eat, you know, this garbage? Well, we all love our concessions. We all love our sweets, Daniel Bryan. And he goes on to say, oh, we're filling the void, that we are filling the void and throwing garbage down our throats. And that's why we cheer for AJ Styles, too. And what was really funny was we saw Daniel Bryan snatch a hot dog away from a fan. And he holds the hot dog and he says, AJ Styles is just like this hot dog. And, you know, he goes on to say they leave empty and move on to something else. And so Daniel Bryan then throws the hot dog back at the fan who he took it from. And then he goes to another fan, takes his drink, and he ends up saying, oh, the plastic straw. The plastic is choking. This plastic is choking the earth. Before we saw Daniel Bryan end up throwing the drink back at the fan who he took it from. And so he ends up going to the merchandise stand. Daniel Bryan goes to the merchandise stand. And he asks the guy who's in charge there of the merchandise. Daniel Bryan asks for a Yes Movement t-shirt. And he's like, oh yeah, the Yes Movement is dead. And he goes on to say that he killed it. And he goes on to say one of the reasons why is he didn't want to fill the earth with toxic garbage like AJ Styles' t-shirts and gloves. And he takes them. He takes Styles t-shirts and gloves like AJ Styles' merchandise. And he continues going on, talking about Styles, and he ends up going to out into the arena, in the crowd. He's high up in the stands. Sorry about that, but I was saying, Daniel Bryan was in the stands, and he ends up walking down, and he's still out there bragging how, he's here changing the world. He's out here changing the world. And he goes on to say that each of the people in the arena are weak, submissive, impotent, and Styles can only fill the void for about 30 seconds. And he goes on to say that he'll tear that void apart and fill it with something meaningful, something valuable, and that he'll make the world better. And he goes on to say that he's changing the world for the better, while we change it for the worse. And then R-Truth comes out, and he ends up beating down on Daniel Bryan. The referee came down to separate both of them. Officials came. And that's how the segment ended, but it was a good segment with Daniel Bryan to open the show. Really liking heel Daniel Bryan, this new Daniel Bryan. It was really funny how he ended up taking the hot dog from one fan and throwing it back at him, and also taking one of the fans' drink, and then just throwing it back at him also. That's a true heel right there. So, but it was a good way to open the show with Daniel Bryan, doing that. I actually enjoyed it. And then we had the match, Daniel Bryan versus R-Truth, which this was pretty much a short match. Daniel Bryan was decent in the match, taking control at some parts of the match, but Daniel Bryan ended up winning the match. He ended up hitting a knee to R-Truth to score the win. And so Daniel Bryan ends up winning the match. And we saw Daniel Bryan make his way up the ramp onto the stage. And then, lo and behold, AJ Styles comes out, beats down on Daniel Bryan, starts throwing punches at Daniel. Officials come out and tries to separate the both of them, but Styles still wants to get his hands on Daniel. He ends up throwing Daniel into the LED board on the stage, and he retrieves a chair. Styles then retrieves a chair, and then Daniel Bryan ends up running off. So Styles didn't get to use the chair on Daniel. So, but really enjoying this feud between Daniel Bryan and Styles. So, yeah, but all in all, Daniel Bryan versus R-Truth, it was a short match in my opinion. It was okay. It was okay. Then we had a tag team match. Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio and Mustafa Ali. And this was a very good tag team match. This was a very good match. Back and forth between them all. Mustafa Ali was very entertaining in this match. Really enjoyable. I like how Mysterio and Ali were a tag team in this match. I think they make a perfectly good tag team. You had at one point in the match where Mysterio did this beautifully done Canadian pile driver to Andrade Cien Almas, which that was really good. I couldn't believe Mysterio doing that, and Andrade sold that really good. Really great. And then we had at the end of the match, there was Rey Mysterio tried to do the 619 to try to do the 619 to Andrade Cien Almas, but Almas ended up blocking it. Mustafa Ali took out Samoa Joe on the outside. And that was when Rey Mysterio tried to hit the 619 on Andrade. Andrade ended up catching Mysterio. And Andrade then ended up hitting the Hammerlock DDT on Mysterio to score the win for him and Samoa Joe. So finally, they make Andrade win the match. It's about time. Thank you. Thank you for making Andrade win a match again, because he's been on a losing streak. But thankfully they made him win this match. And now let's keep that going. Let's keep seeing Andrade keep winning matches. Let's stop with the losing streak for him. Because if they keep doing it, WWE is going to be making Andrade into a jobber. So yeah, but all in all, very good tag team match. Really enjoyable match. That Canadian pile driver from Rey Mysterio to Andrade was beautifully done. And it was very entertaining. So sorry about that, but after the tag team match, we had Carmella end up cutting the promo, saying how nobody thinks she's going to win the triple threat match tonight against Becky Lynch and Charlotte. And she's like, why? Why does nobody think she's going to win? And she goes on to say, oh, is it because she looks good, and likes to have fun? And she also goes, or is it because Charlotte has learned to use a kendo stick, and Becky Lynch grew a personality. And she's like, she became champion by getting an opportunity, and that's all she ever needed. And she goes on to say tonight she's got one more opportunity to get at it, because Mella is money. So that was the promo that Carmella ended up cutting. And yeah, it was a triple threat tonight. It was Carmella versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. Triple threat match. Whoever wins gets to face Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. So we had that match tonight, which I'm going to get to. Then after Carmella cut that promo, we had the Usos backstage saying they have to beat Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar, to get an opportunity at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So it was just a short backstage promo from the Usos. Then we had the Miz come in, and he was talking with Shane. Miz was complaining about the Usos. Miz was complaining to Shane about the Usos getting a shot at the tag team titles before him and Shane could get an opportunity. And Shane says to Miz that they're far away from the title picture. And so the Miz tries to sell Shane on taking the shortcut. And so Shane says he's excited about teaming up, and he wants to put the work in, and he wants to challenge themselves, and he wants to challenge his and Miz, themselves, and also their competition. And Miz agrees, and he goes to Shane. He's like, "Oh, have you thought about my outfits? Remember last week, Miz wanted Shane to like, some of the outfits that, he was showing Shane, because he had the board and the outfits on, on paper." And, he was saying, "I think I'm enjoying the white leather." And then Shane, walks off, and, Fig's taking a call. So that was that. Then we had Rusev in the ring. He says how last week Lana got hurt because of Nakamura. And of course, Lana wasn't here tonight because of that. And he goes on to say he stands before you not as a U.S. champion. He stands before us as a Bulgarian brute. He stands before us a husband. And he says, Shinsuke Nakamura can mess with him all he wants. And he says, once you mess with his wife, you cross the line. And he tells Shinsuke to come out so he can break every bone in his body and crush him. And so Rusev is waiting in the ring. Shinsuke Nakamura, he's on the Titantron. He's in the production truck. And he ends up saying to Rusev, everyone wants to believe it's his fault. It's Nakamura's fault. And he goes on to say, it's all Rusev's fault. And he ends up showing the clips of what happened last week, where Lana was on the back of Nakamura, and Rusev ended up Machka kicking Nakamura while Lana was still on Nakamura's was still hanging on Nakamura. And so that it kept on looping how Rusev ended up kicking Nakamura with the monster kick. It just kept on rewinding back and forth. And so when that was over, Nakamura ends up saying Rusev crushed Lana. And so Rusev says if Shinsuke Nakamura doesn't come to him, then he will come to Nakamura. And so Rusev ends up running to the back. We see him, he's asking, "Oh, where's the production truck? Where's the TV production truck?" And so Nakamura comes and he starts, taking out Rusev. He rams a crate into Rusev, and the officials come to break it up. They come to aid Rusev. They tell Nakamura to get out of there. And then Nakamura ends up coming back, ends up hitting a Kinshasa to Rusev. And that was it. That was what happened. But all in all, it was a decent segment. Rusev. Sorry about that, but after the Rusev segment, we had Becky Lynch come to promo. And she was complaining, she has to win a match to get a title, to get a shot at the title that she never lost. And she's like, tonight she can do whatever she wants. And at the Royal Rumble, Asuka will have to do more than climb a ladder. And she knows she's on borrowed time until the man comes around. So it was a good promo from Becky. Then we had Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar versus the Usos, a tag team match. If the Usos win, they get a shot at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. This was a good match, good tag team match, back and forth between them. The Usos was very entertaining, and to me, the tag team division on SmackDown, they're just using the same tag teams, like the Bar, the New Day, the Usos. Those three tag teams they keep on using. They don't use, how come they're not using Sandy or Gallows or Anderson? I mean, come on, it's the same tag teams we see with the Bar, the Usos, and the New Day. Come on, let's see Sanity. Let's see Gallows and Anderson. Let's see those guys instead of the same three. So yeah, later on, towards the end of the match, Mandy Rose ended up coming out. She ended up coming out in a white towel, just like in the photo that she says that she sent to Jimmy. And she ends up saying to Jimmy to help her. And she asks him, did Mandy leave her gold shorts and top in his hotel room? And Jimmy's face was like, what are you talking about? And that's when Sheamus ended up, taking control of the match. And then Cesaro ended up coming in, ended up hitting the neutralizer on Jey Uso to score the win. So Cesaro and Sheamus end up winning the match, thanks to Mandy Rose. So the Usos do not get a shot at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And after the match, The Miz ends up coming out, and he tells them to give it up for Cesaro and Sheamus. And he ends up saying, congrats to them dominating all the tag teams on SmackDown. And so Miz, he ends up granting Cesaro and Sheamus an opportunity to put the titles on the line at the Royal Rumble against him and Shane. And the both of them accept. And before they said that they accept, Sheamus ends up hitting Miz with the Brogue Kick. And that's when they said, we'll accept the match. So there you go. Again, Cesaro and Sheamus versus The Miz and Shane at the Royal Rumble for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So yeah, but all in all, it was a good tag team match with Cesaro and Sheamus and the Usos. Then we saw Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville backstage. Mandy ends up taking off the towel, and it's revealed that she is wearing her gold shorts and gold top. And so Naomi ends up coming, and she ends up taking down Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. An all-out brawl ensues between all three of them. Jimmy ends up coming in to separate them, and separate Naomi. And that's what it was. And they're continuing with this storyline with Mandy Rose and Naomi and Jimmy Uso, or just Mandy Rose and Naomi. So, but it was announced that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, they're going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble match, both of them. So, but then we had Charlotte end up cutting a promo saying about how Carmella was last year's hottest thing, and she goes on to say that Becky Lynch is this year's hottest thing. And she ends up saying that she's been the hottest thing 4 years running, and that she's main evented multiple pay-per-views, and she's not here to prove herself to anyone, but just to reclaim her title. So yeah, so that was the promo that Charlotte ended up cutting. Then we saw Daniel Bryan. He was about to leave the arena. Kayla Braxton interviews him, and Daniel points out that a fat, ignorant man spilled mustard on him before shifting to AJ Styles' unprovoked attack. And he says, "Oh, did Styles attack him because he's changing the world for the better, or just because he's got the WWE Championship?" And he doesn't. So Daniel Bryan says that he doesn't care why Styles attacked him. And he goes on to say, if you think what he did tonight is vicious, it's not as vicious as the new Daniel Bryan. And he says, people haven't seen what he's capable of, but Styles will see at the Royal Rumble. And he'll never, ever take the WWE Championship away. Because Daniel Bryan says that he's fighting for a bigger cause that he can understand. And he'll be champion forever. So that was the interview with Daniel Bryan. Then we saw The Miz was backstage. Shane McMahon comes up to him, and Miz congratulates Shane on his plan to challenge their opponents. And Shane tries to explain what he meant. And Miz says if they're not testing themselves by going right after the bar, where would they be if they just, waited their turn and let the opportunity pass them by? So that was the backstage segment with Miz and Shane. Then the main event time. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte and Carmella triple threat match. Whoever wins gets to face Asuka at the Royal Rumble for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was a good main event, a good women's match. Very entertaining match. It was back and forth between them. My pick was Becky Lynch to win the match. And Becky did really good in this match. And at the end of the match, Becky applied the disarmor on Carmella. Carmella ended up tapping out. And so Becky Lynch wins the match. Becky Lynch is now going to be facing Asuka at the Royal Rumble for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So that's going to be pretty awesome to see. I'm really looking forward to it. And so now, because why would you want to see Asuka go up against either Charlotte or Carmella? Asuka has already went up against them. Asuka went up against Charlotte like twice already. One at WrestleMania and one on a SmackDown show. And she went up, with Carmella a few times. So the only opportunity for them to have as Asuka's opponent is Becky Lynch. And it looks like now, after this, Charlotte may be winning the Women's Royal Rumble, and she may be and she's going on to the main event at WrestleMania. It was previously reported that they want to give Charlotte the main event spot at WrestleMania. So it looks like WWE is going that way. So Becky Lynch, like I said, wins the match. She gets to face Asuka at the Royal Rumble for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Then after the match, Asuka ended up coming out. She ended up coming into the ring, and her and Becky just talked down to each other. They were, exchanging words, and that's how SmackDown went off the air tonight. So that was SmackDown. Overall, a good show. Not great or perfect, though. It was much better than Raw last night. And I enjoyed SmackDown tonight. So anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching. And definitely give this video a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe. And until the next video, I'll see you all later. Bye.